This is BBC News, the headlines.
Suzanne Kianpo.
Suzanne Kianpo.
Suzanne Kianpo has more.
The threat of war with North Korea is very real.
Is Pakistan meddling? Are they working with the Taliban?
The only person who truly knows what was said in that meeting is Mr. Putin's translator. One White House source that I spoke to said a Republican told me, speaking to the people who elected him to office, and they can't be bothered about all of this Russian fever that's going on in Washington.
I actually think that question is basically Chinese propaganda.
Good morning, America. Good afternoon, Europe. And good evening, Dubai. It's News with Suze. It's been a while since we've been live. Hi everyone, a quick News with Suze update from the UN. A major decision today as the Security Council passed a resolution aiming to tackle the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Day one of the Democratic National Convention was marked by both powerful moments inside but also passionate protests outside, with a surge of voices demanding justice on the streets of Chicago, where thousands rallied in solidarity with Gaza. Even as the Democratic establishment kicked off their key event, the protests outside were impossible to ignore. The Gaza solidarity protests have gained traction over recent weeks, with activists demanding an immediate ceasefire and an end to U.S. military support to Israel. The energy outside was palpable, showing how deeply this issue is resonating with progressives and beyond. Inside, the Democratic National Committee set aside a prominent space for activists and organizers at the Gaza to Washington event, an initiative highlighting how foreign policy decisions have far-reaching consequences at home. Even inside the hall, things were spilling over. A protester stormed the stage during the delegate welcome party, and a sign saying, "Stop Arming Israel," was taken down. That sentiment carried over to the main stage when Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez took the podium. Known for her unapologetic advocacy for progressive causes, AOC did not hold back in her call for a ceasefire and a reevaluation of U.S. priorities.
In Kamala Harris, we have a chance to elect a president who is for the middle class because she is from the middle class. She understands the urgency of rent checks and groceries and prescriptions. She is as committed to our reproductive and civil rights as she is to taking on corporate greed. And she is working tirelessly to secure a ceasefire in Gaza and bringing hostages home.
Last time there was a Democratic National Convention in person. This woman, Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State, was the nominee, the first female presidential nominee, and she lost to Donald Trump. Now this year, Democrats are hoping that there in fact will finally be a Madam President, and this time, Madam President will not lose to Donald Trump.
My friends, when a barrier falls for one of us, it falls. It falls and clears the way for all of us. So for the next 78 days, we need to work harder than we ever have. We need to beat back the dangers that Trump and his allies pose to the rule of law and our way of life. Don't get distracted or complacent. Talk to your friends and neighbors. Volunteer. Be proud champions for the truth and for the country that we all love. I want my grandchildren and their grandchildren to know I was here at this moment, that we were here, and that we were with Kamala Harris every step of the way. This is our time, America. This is when we stand up. This is when we break through. The future is here. It's in our grasp. Let's go win it.
The crowd gave Hillary Clinton a standing ovation, with many seeing her speech as a reminder of both the progress made and the obstacles yet to be overcome. First Lady Jill Biden also took the spotlight on day one, with her appearance making headlines not just for her speech, but also for her choice of attire, Ralph Lauren. Dr. Biden, known for her keen sense of style, opted for a sophisticated dress that subtly blended fashion and symbolism. Her speech was filled with warmth and compassion, reflecting on the role of families and communities in holding the country together through crises. But the First Lady's presence also reminded viewers of how personal style can become a vehicle for broader messages, showing that even in moments of high stakes, grace and intentionality have a role to play. In fact, there is even a trend that has emerged around this sentiment from a Chicago-based creator. Very mindful, very demure, a little bit cutesy. Finally, it was President Biden who closed out the night with a speech aimed at unifying the party and the nation. He focused on the theme of resilience, pointing to the challenges faced in recent years, from the pandemic to global tensions, and highlighting his administration's achievements. But what stood out was the clear influence of a new kind of power player in the room: digital creators. News with Suze was in the Creator Lounge, full of newsfluencers, and we're looking forward to having them on our channel this week. From YouTube to TikTok stars, these creators were front and center, live streaming, sharing moments with millions, and shaping the narrative in real time. This reflects a shift in how political messages are communicated, no longer just through traditional media, but directly to younger audience through platforms they trust. The first day of the DNC brought together diverse voices, powerful demands, and an undeniable sense of urgency for change, but also hope. Whether it was in the speeches inside or the chants outside, the message was clear. The path forward requires both courage and compassion.